My mother-in-law kept blaming me for not giving her a grandchild, so I finally told her the truth about her son, and it destroyed our marriage in seconds. For 3 years, I swallowed my pride every time my mother-in-law patted my stomach. I let my husband's family believe I was the broken one, the reason they didn't have a grandchild. I took the pitying looks and unsolicited advice about tracking my temperature. I took it all because the truth was something my husband begged me to keep hidden. But last night, I broke the promise and shattered his world in front of everyone. My husband, David, is a recovering gambling addict. We have been married for 5 years, and 3 years ago, I found out he had secretly taken out a second mortgage on our home and maxed out 4 credit cards in my name. The total debt was nearly $80,000. It almost destroyed us. I packed my bags twice. The only reason I stayed was because he hit absolute rock bottom, confessed everything, and voluntarily checked himself into a residential rehab program. We spent the next 3 years clawing our way out of that financial grave. I took a second job working weekends at a bakery. Part of our reconciliation agreement was that we would not even discuss having children until we were entirely debt-free, and he had been attending his weekly support meetings without fail for 5 years. I refused to bring a child into a home built on secrets and financial instability. But David is a proud man, and his family is heavily involved in our lives. When we first got married, we talked constantly about wanting 3 kids. So when year 2 and then year 3 rolled by with no pregnancy announcements, the questions started. David panicked. He didn't want to tell his parents about the gambling or the debt. He was terrified of losing his father's respect. So without asking me, he told his mother we were struggling with infertility. He made it sound like a medical issue on my end. When I confronted him about the lie, he looked so utterly defeated and begged me to just play along. He said it was only temporary until we fixed our mess. Like an idiot, I agreed. I thought I was being a supportive wife. That brings us to Sunday dinner at his parents' house. His sister recently announced her second pregnancy, and tensions have been high. I was already exhausted from working a double shift on Saturday. We were sitting around the dining room table eating roast chicken, and the conversation naturally drifted to the new baby. My mother-in-law Susan turned to me with that tight, sympathetic smile she always uses. She started talking about a new specialist in the city who deals with stubborn female issues. I politely told her we weren't looking into specialists right now and tried to change the subject to David's recent promotion at work. Susan wouldn't let it go. She sighed loudly and said, "Well, you need to start taking this seriously. It's not fair to David to drag your feet. He would be such a wonderful father, and you're depriving him of the one thing he wants most in life." I looked at David across the table, waiting for him to step in. I waited for him to defend me, to say something, anything, to deflect his mother's cruelty. He just stared down at his plate and moved his peas around with his fork. He let her blame me. Something inside my chest just snapped. The weight of the $80,000, the weekend shifts at the bakery, the maxed out credit cards, and the 3 years of silent humiliation came rushing up my throat. I set my fork down very carefully. I looked Susan right in the eye and said my body works perfectly fine. I told her the reason we don't have children is because her son gambled away our future on sports bets and nearly bankrupted us. I told her I refused to have a baby with a man I couldn't trust with a credit card. The silence that followed was suffocating. David went completely pale. His father dropped his napkin. Susan started crying and accused me of making up a horrible lie to cover my own insecurities. David didn't deny it though. He just stood up, grabbed his coat, and walked out the front door without saying a word. I had to take an Uber home. He hasn't spoken to me since. He is currently staying at a cheap motel near his office. This morning, I got a text from him saying I humiliated him in the worst way possible and broke the only boundary he asked for. His sister left me a voicemail calling me a vindictive monster for airing his disease just to score points at a family dinner. I feel completely sick to my stomach, but I was so incredibly tired of carrying his shame. Am I the asshole here?